And they've had a crazy schedule. As far as their battles have gone, I'm gonna quickly cover their teams, and then if I have a little bit of fluff time, I'll give you guys some background information. Conan, you just saw him battle, but once again, I'll give you his team. It's there on the bottom. He's got Kangaskhan, Landorus T, Thunderous, Aegis/, Entei, and that legendary Porygon 2. Man, that thing did so much work last game.
Dude, that won him the series single-handedly.
So what are you thinking, just looking at the two teams right here, what are you thinking is going to be really important for both of these guys to come up on top? Because there's a lot of money on the line here, and a lot of bragging rights.
There is. We did see the Entei put in a lot of work against Landorus Therian form today because of its ability to burn everything. So I'm very curious to see what item Shinon has on his Landorus, because if it's Choice Scarf, then he'll actually be able to get an attack off before having to deal with the burns. But Conan does have the Wide Guard with Aegis/, which he revealed in a later set, as well as substitutes. So it's going to be a bit annoying to deal with. I feel like Azumarill can go a long way in this set if it gets up a Belly Drum, which I presume this set is. And, you know, Amoonguss support's really great for that. Aqua Jet also does a ton of damage to Entei even without the belly drum, but we're going to get into this battle.
Okay, do you actually have are we just looking at the Nugget Bridge stream? Because I'm going to be a little bit behind right now.
I'll send you the link.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're walking into it. Aaron, if you want to, okay.
Yeah,
I see Landorus T. Go ahead.
Yep, so we see Landorus T and Entei coming out from Conan's end against Azumarill and Kangaskhan on Shinon's end. So it looks like Shinon is capitalizing and trying to take advantage of that Azumarill. The Intimidate here obviously doesn't help it very much, but if Shinon's Kangaskhan does have Fake Out, we can see a Fake Out turn 1 onto Entei or Landorus, and the Azumarill goes straight for a Belly Drum. And I think that's pretty ideal for Azumarill here. Might have to take some damage, but it really wants to avoid getting burned from the Entei. The Landorus, however, of course, on the opposing end isn't intimidated, so it can do a lot of damage with whatever it chooses to use. We've seen that Conan's Landorus T has that Life Orb, so you know, it can Rock Slide, it can Earthquake. The thing is, if Rock Slide's not doing too much damage, and Earthquake, you obviously wouldn't want to Earthquake when you have the Entei out, so he could choose to protect the Entei and go with an Earthquake with the Landorus.
So we see Shinon immediately Mega the Kangaskhan here, pretty straightforward, and we do see a Fake Out, so that's going to play, that's good information here for Conan. Onto the Landorus to keep it from probably superpowering or maybe going for a lucky Rock Slide Finch on the Azumarill. Sacred Fire coming up, really hoping for the burn, I assume, because that damage isn't going to be huge. We do get a flinch, but that was from the Fake Out. And a Belly Drum's going to come up, and all of a sudden this Azumarill has become the biggest threat this game's probably going to see.
Yeah, and it's crazy that first turn was basically a 50-50 literally on that burn. If Conan got that burn, that Azumarill would not be nearly as strong as it is right now. But now Conan's staring down a Azumarill at around 50% HP that can dish out Aqua Jets and KO everything. However, even though he does have that +6 set up, if he targets incorrectly here into a Protect, the other Pokemon can potentially either knock it out. For example, Landorus can just use that Life Orb Earthquake and KO Azumarill, or Entei could potentially try to set up or get a burn off against the Azumarill. So this next turn is going to be really important for Shinon to determine who to target with that Azumarill. Kangaskhan being at -1 attack is also kind of an issue because it won't be able to knock out neither Landorus nor the Entei. So it's kind of a difficult position for both players.
What's really cool is that Belly Drum was able to cancel that Intimidate it had originally received since you maximize your attack from that point in the battle. So you've got a fully powered Azumarill here going for this Aqua Jet onto the Entei, just completely obliterating it from just stage 1. So already down a whole Pokemon, Conan. The Landorus is going to take this. Oh my god, wait. Oh my god, that was Ice Punch. Never mind. I take back everything I was saying. Oh my god.
That's such a brilliant solution to the Landorus Therian issue, and we see a double knockout there, and that might just be game right from there because of the advantage that Shinon's built out. I was not anticipating the Ice Punch there, and that was hype, man. That was hype.
Ice Punch on Kangaskhan, even at -1, gets the KO on the Landorus. So, I mean, it's really cool when you're running it against a lot of Landorus, especially if you're, you know, expecting to see them lead against your team, which... Looking at Conan's team, yeah, Landorus is a pretty solid pick against it. So I'm sure it's actually come into a lot of effect for him. Kangaskhan's going to withdraw here because it was at -1. This Azumarill still looking huge. We don't know if it's Fake Out or Protect Kangaskhan on Conan's side of the field, but we're going to find out here. It's going to be really tough to get around, though, 4 Pokemon. It's 4-on-2 right now. It's been 2 turns, 1 turn, 2 turns, so... Azumarill going to protect here, obviously realizing, yeah, I am the threat here. I'm going to protect myself. He's got to try to deal with me at some point.
Yep.
Kangaskhan going for a Fake Out onto that new Amoonguss slot. Probably going to see a Rocky Helmet here. Yeah, very common on Amoonguss. So double Rocky Helmet damage is going to weaken this Kangaskhan. That's Aqua Jet range for sure. And then we'll see what the Aegislash does. It's going to attack, so it's going to be in this attack mode. We'll see. You think he doubled into... Yeah, no. Shadow Ball into Kangaskhan would be a little bit too risky, even at this, from this far behind.
Yeah. Though, I mean, when you're that far behind, those are the plays you need to make. But now, with Amoonguss out, all you have to do is Aqua Jet the Kangaskhan, Spore the Aegislash. And this game was basically determined by the fact that, 1, Azumarill was able to get that Belly Drum off, and 2, he was able to get that surprise knockout onto Landorus T with that Ice Punch, outspeeding him as well. That's why, Choice Scarf so popular. But we're actually going to see the Rage Powder here. Don't want to, just prevent any Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch shenanigans.
So Aqua Jet comes up, Rage Powder to protect the Azumarill. It's so funny to think that you've got these two players who have played through, the Nugget Bridge system all year long. They've gotten all these points. They've gone through this entire tournament. They've beaten crazy tough opponents. And you have a match that could just completely end in 3 turns like that. I mean,
yeah, that was literally less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, the Ice Punch, it was just, oh God. He didn't get the burn with the Sacred Fire, 50-50. Then the Ice Punch came out, and it was just like, oh God, I'm too far behind. And, holy... He's going to have to make some real crazy adjustments here. How do you stop the Belly Drum this next game?
I mean, once again, the Sacred Fire was a pretty decent solution. You get that half the time, but you can't rely on 50-50s like that, honestly. So perhaps bringing Kangaskhan, because what Kangaskhan does is it threatens it immediately with a lot of damage with the return. But that's always a bit scary when you're facing against an opposing Kangaskhan as well. But that's why before game 1 I was saying Azumarill is so darn good in this set, and we're probably going to see a sweep around it. I didn't expect the Ice Punch from Kangaskhan, and that was a really good solution because I thought Conan could have brought it into his favor if he was able to pick up a knockout or burn the Azumarill that second turn even after Belly Drum, but he had no solution there in the end. So it's really, really difficult. I don't think we're going to see Porygon 2. It doesn't seem like the best Pokemon, especially because it doesn't threaten down Azumarill. I think if you're on Conan's end right now, you're going to want to bring Pokemon, shut down Azumarill right from the get-go and, put on some more pressure. Maybe his Thundurus.
So both of these trainers picked their Pokemon really quickly right here. We're going to see a double Genie lead on Conan's side of the field against a little bit different strategy over here. Kangaskhan Heatran. What do you think? Okay, what do you think he was trying to pull in here? I can see the Thundurus maybe trying to pull up a Swagger, maybe taunt the Amoonguss, but why the Heatran Kangaskhan here, Aaron?
That's a good question. I mean, if anything, it was just a way to switch things up. Sometimes you don't want to go at the same lead because you figure your opponent's going to bring something different. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like the best of leads, obviously, in this position, though we do see Ice Punch still being able to knock out Landorus. So that's pretty good. And we did see Kangaskhan outspeeds Landorus as well. Don't know what item the Heatran has yet, but maybe, presumably, the Shuka Berry. But I like this lead change a lot from Conan's end.
So for Shinon, did we even get to see his last Pokemon, the 4th one? I feel like we only got to see 3, Amoonguss, Azumarill, and the Kangaskhan. Is that right? So maybe he brought the Heatran last time too. Maybe it's the same floor and he's just trying a different lead setup. We'll see right here. As the Heatran retreats for Landorus T, intimidating Conan's own Landorus T. Assume maybe trying to eat up a Thunderbolt, maybe a Thunder Wave if that's what Conan wanted to go for here. We do know it is Fake Out Kangaskhan on Shinon's side of the field, so it's going to be able to throw that up. I assume maybe onto the Landorus to keep from a superpower or something, but maybe he's really afraid of the Thunder Wave. Okay, so he's gonna opt to go after the Thundurus here, get a nice switch in for his Landorus with the Intimidate here, and absorb maybe a potential superpower. Conan goes for the Earthquake. Heatran was in that slot. Makes a lot of sense, and his teammate was levitating. So great switch in for Shinon on that side of the field with the Intimidate to weaken it. And we get to see a Life Orb on the Landorus T for Conan's side.
Yeah, a fantastic play there on Shinon's end. Conan gets some damage off, but there wasn't much he could have done there, honestly, to improve his position. And you see the Life Orb actually helping out a bit, but Kangaskhan's so bulky, and with that Intimidate, survives with over 60%. So this next turn is also going to be interesting because the Kangaskhan here can choose to just Ice Punch Landorus, and we did see that last game. I don't think Conan's going to let that happen nearly as easily. Maybe, for example, protecting Landorus and going for a Thunder Wave on the Kangaskhan, but the Landorus on Shinon's side is also pretty scary because anytime you have a Landorus mirror matchup, whichever one is intimidated fares a lot weaker. So we can see some Rock Slides come out from Shinon's Landorus right now. Don't know what item it has quite yet, but a Rock Slide against Landorus would do a lot.
So Kangaskhan comes out, probably does not want to get Thunder Waved or so, sends in the Heatran. I guess Shinon's feeling pretty confident in his positioning right now, not expecting another Earthquake, obviously. Thundurus will pull a Protect. That's kind of a newish move that we're seeing on a lot of Thundurus now. Not so often. You usually kind of opt for either Swag or Thunder Wave or HP Ice. And Rock Slide comes in, misses the Aegis Slash. So not a whole lot there besides a lot of repositioning, but we do see a Heatran come in for an Aegis Slash spot. So once again, I feel if you're Shinon, you got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Neither Thundurus nor Aegislash do too much to Heatran, or honestly Landorus, unless Thundurus has Hidden Power Ice. Presumably Thunderbolt, Thunderwave protects, so we don't know whether he's running, Hidden Power Ice, Swagger, Taunt on that last one. So I don't think Shinon's going to take that risk, and he's probably just going to play it safe here.
So Shinon, yo, exactly right there. Protect the Heatran, switch out the Landorus, try to see what the Thundurus is going to do. Not a lot of Thundurus are going to throw a Thunder Wave into a Landorus spot, so I think if anything, it takes a potential HP Ice. The Thunder Wave comes up onto the protecting Heatran, and we see the Wide Guard from Aegis Slash, so that's going to be some really good information. I do want to point out one thing, though. Ice Punch Kangaskhan are usually jolly, because you can outspeed now like the Assault Vest, Landorus, and the Life Orb ones. So I think that's going to be pretty good information here, too, in case Conan wants to bring out his own Kangaskhan later, but I don't know if he picked up on that or not.
Yeah, I mean, Shinon's playing this perfectly. That Heatran switch-in and the Kangaskhan switch-in and protecting the Heatran was so well done. Now Kangaskhan can actually just fake out Thundurus to prevent it from getting a Thunder Wave off. Might even see Heatran double-targeted, maybe going for an Overheat. We don't know what Heatran set, Shinon's carrying. But since Aegislash wide-guarded last turn, he can't King Shield safely, so we could see an Overheat, an Earth Power, or maybe just a Heat Wave come out here as well. So that was a really, really great turn for Shinon, and looks like we're not going to see any switches.
For the second time this game, Thundurus is going to get faked out by that Kangaskhan. So it's only taken this fake out damage. I guess right now we're going to connect with a Heat Wave. Thundurus will hang on. Aegis Slash takes a little over half. We're going to see if it's got Weakness Policy or not here. Thundurus does pop the Citrus Berry, get back up to about half. Substitute. Hold on. Substitute Wide Guard Aegis Slash. With
Slash.
With leftovers. Okay. Wow. Okay, that's what wow.
So the sub there is kind of nice, right? But at the same time, you can't touch Kangaskhan with your Aegislash right now, and you can just get sucker punched. Thundurus here can't do very much offensively either, which is why I really like the switch-in of Heatran earlier on. Landorus obviously in the back kind of threatens it, but one way that Shinon can beat the Landorus is just switching Kangaskhan out and back in to reshuffle the Intimidate, and it looks like he's actually going to do that.
Conan withdraws the Kangaskhan for his Amoonguss to eat up this Thunder Wave. Maybe, I think Conan might just have to go for some Thunder Wave hacks right now because it's looking like this battle's, oh my gosh, a substitute coming from the Heatran to protect it from any future Thunder Waves. It's going to take a little bit of effort to get rid of that Heatran now. As Aegis Slash goes into attack mode to hit something with the Shadow Ball, obviously probably not the Kangaskhan spot, probably the Heatran. And yeah, the Heatran will take the Shadow Ball. Let's see if it pops the substitute. So we're a little bit in the same position here. A paralyzed Amoonguss, but an Amoonguss nonetheless on the field that can very well protect this Heatran while it Heat Waves everything.
Yeah, great play there by Conan, though. He's behind in this game, and he needs to make the plays to get back into this one. And, obviously he could have just gone for a wide guard there with Aegis Slash to predict the Heat Wave. But if he went for the wide guard and Heatran set up a substitute, Shinon would be in such a good position where he could just run away with this game. And I think it's also interesting to note that Shinon, hasn't used the Azumarill at all, which was the key factor in the last game yet. But it looks like this time around we are going to see the wide guard.
So wide guard from the Aegis Slash as a Rage Powder comes up to protect the Heatran. We'll see what the Thundurus opts to do, looking like the Heatran's going to substitute. It's faster than the Thundurus. The Thundurus must have fired off an attack here. The Hidden Power Ice going into the Amoonguss. Most likely Ice, at least. Probably not Flying. That'd be weird. And the Amoonguss is going to eat that up pretty well. Another substitute up here for this Heatran, though. So Shinon's really looking to keep the substitute up on the Heatran. I think he sees that it's going to be really influential in taking out the rest of this game, and it was able to avoid that wide guard.
Yeah, absolutely. So Shinon getting the better of that turn, setting up a sub. It's also important information to know that Heatran outspeeds Thundurus. So with Aegis Slash having wide guarded last turn, you can either choose the wide guard again or attack, or you can risk King Shielding for that 1/3 chance. But one play Shinon can make here is just doubling up into Aegis Slash with an Earth Power and a Spore to knock out the sub and then put it to his sleep. However, we can't see the double target onto Amoonguss with the Hidden Power Ice and a Shadow Ball.
Amoonguss is going to opt to protect as Heatran goes and fires off an Earth Power into that attack mode Aegis Slash that had wide guarded the previous turn. So not opting for a King Shield here. The substitute will most definitely fade, and we're going to see an HP Ice into the Amoonguss. I think maybe even a double. Wow, that was a great protect.
Yep, so he went for the double, which I said, he might have considered going for, and Shinon wasn't willing to take any risks. He knew that it was pretty unlikely we'd see a Thunderbolt and a Shadow Ball onto the Heatran slot, and he, gets a huge advantage from that, because now, without the substitute from Aegislash, if you King Shield, Shinon can predict that and Spore you. If you Wide Guard, you can get Spored as well. And the thing is, Amoonguss here, it's what we saw earlier in Layosh's set, where Amoonguss really needs to constantly get targeted to go down, otherwise it's guaranteed to Spore off.
So no taunt coming out here. Instead, opting for a protect. Starting to think maybe it's not running taunt because the Aegislash is a sitting duck for this Spore. A double into the Aegislash here guarantees you some results. So that's exactly what Shinon's going to do. And you got to realize that
oh my gosh, the reads.
After coming this far, well, I mean, either it stayed in attack mode and got earth powered, and he would have had to something was gonna go down. So
it was a safe plan, but it was nice because he didn't walk into Thunderous. I was honestly surprised to see the Protect King Shield play there because you risk that Spore coming out. I thought he might have just tried to go for some damage, but Conan trying to play it safe there, maybe hoping the Spore would go into Thunderous. Not the case, and now he's really, really behind. He does not have Wide Guard support.
Here's the Heatran coming out faster than the Thunderous again. There's no Wide Guard. Aegislash is asleep. Thunderous is going down. I mean, it's he Rage Powder for safety there just in case, but he didn't miss with the Heat Wave. Once you come this far in a tournament, you're already mentally fatigued. You go into round one and you see the Azumarill just Aqua Jet your entire face off. I'm sure that's already mentally playing into it. And now that he's got this substitute up, there's an Amoonguss on the field. It's got to be really tough on Conan right now.
This is just beautiful playing from Shinon, though. I think he's made the best move every turn, constantly. And at first, the lead matchup looked a bit shaky there, but all he needed to do was switch out into Landorus, and suddenly things look 10 times better. That's why Landorus is such a good Pokemon in the format, especially against each other. And, it's like what the Japanese said at Worlds. The only way to beat Thunderous and Landorus is to use Thunderous and Landorus. But Thunderous on Conan's end this time around, not doing very much. We are going to see Kangaskhan come in with that Landorus, but, Shinon's still got the Landorus, so what he can do is just reshuffle, intimidate back in and out. It looks like that's what he's going to go for.
Perfect. Just intimidate everything on the field. Conan's Kangaskhan hasn't even Mega Evolved yet. We're 10 minutes into this battle. So he did put up a pretty valiant effort sitting in the face of a bunch of Heat Waves and a lot of strong attacks from Shinon's side. We'll see the Mega here. We'll see the Fake Out probably maybe on something. The Heatran will protect from a potential Low Kick, Earthquake maybe, or a Rock Slide. I'm sure Shinon's got a little bit of time here to just kind of shuffle, absorb a little bit of damage. He's got the full health of Amoonguss now because of Regenerator. Great protect there. It's just, I wanted to point out real quick, Shinon was the only person in top 4 who didn't have a round 1 bye. He actually played Rafa.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's had the longest schedule of the day. Here comes a superpower. Big damage there. It's going to survive. Kangaskhan's going to survive because it's not going to be Life Orb, Thunder, or Landorus. We'll see another Rock Slide here. He's just hoping for just a bone. He misses
just something.
one.
Give him something. Yeah. And he misses again.
Yeah, he misses the Landorus. He's going to take his own Life Orb damage there. So on the board-wise, it looks like only he took damage. Here comes the Heat Wave. It would be almost impossible to come back from this. Life Orb would KO him before he got to do anything.
The only other finals I've ever seen that's been this dominated was the seniors finals at the World Championships this year. But Shinon played these 2 games both perfectly. That first game, he set up that Azumarill. He used that Ice Punch trump card. Second time around, he figured, that's probably not going to work. And he adjusted a bit better, expecting Thunderous to come around. So Shinon will take the second game. He will win the set 2-0, and he will be crowned the Season 4 Nugget Bridge Invitational Champion. Congratulations to Shinon. Great showing by Conan.